Welcome to the Spiggle Law Firm podcast. I'm Tom Spiggle, founder of the firm. We help people who've been fired or afraid that they might be in Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. Today, I'm going to be continuing the series where I discuss the book that I recently released called Fired or Afraid That You Might Be, which you can find on Amazon or on our website. In the last episode, I talked about the overview of the book, why I wrote the book, and how people can use it. Today, I'm going to be talking about the first section of the book. How do you determine whether or not you have a case, and kind of a high level overview of how you might use those chapters. But before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. This podcast is not intended to be legal advice for your specific case, nor is it intended to create an attorney-client relationship with our firm. If you want either of those things, then you got it. You should go hire yourself an attorney. So, all right, let's jump in. So here's the book. Here's what it looks like. Today, I'm going to be talking about the various sections in the book and how I would go about using them. There are 8 sections in the book. The first one that we're going to be talking about today is called Do I Have a Case? And let me note that this book starts with the very important question, do I have a case? One of the other sections in the book, it's about how do you determine what the value of your case is. It is possible to switch these sections around. You can start with just assume that you have a case and start with what the value is. And let me back up and say there's no right way to read this book. You can, of course, skip around. You don't have to go from page 1 all the way to the end. You can only use those sections that may be relevant to you. So if you want to assume, or maybe you've got an attorney already and you know that you have some kind of case and you want to know, hey, what are my damages? What's my case worth? You can skip to that section in the book. And in fact, in our course, Legal Leverage, that is where we start. One of the reasons we start there is because you can have a great case, but it can be worth very little for various reasons. So as I say in the course, you want to know, is the juice worth the squeeze? It doesn't matter how great your case is. If you've got a dried up lemon, that's no knock on you. That's just the way the legal aspects of your case may work out, and the value of it. Then you might want to start with, what is my case worth? But today we'll be starting in section 1 of the book, which is where most people start, is do I have a case? And as I mentioned in the last podcast, sometimes that can be difficult to determine in employment law because, if you've been arrested, then a criminal defense lawyer can help you. If you're getting a divorce, then a family attorney can help you. If you need a will drafted, then a trust and estate attorney can help you. If you've been fired or you're facing a problem at work, it's not necessarily true that you have a case, even though you may be experiencing something horrific at work that is impacting you greatly. You may not. You sort of think of it as a circle, like here are the problems that happen at work. You kind of bring it in closer. Here are the problems that are ones that you can bring legal action for and actually expect to win. And it can be difficult to know, even for attorneys, particularly if you don't practice in this area, to know whether or not you have a case that is worth pursuing. So the first section of the book is to help you at least get some answer to that question. Now, as I talk about, there are a number of ways to go about this. One of them, and perhaps the direct shot, is to, of course, hire an attorney. You don't even necessarily have to hire one to, get a consult with an attorney. Some attorneys offer these for free. Most of them do not. You have to pay for those, but it can be money well spent because you can use an attorney who does a lot of this work can pretty quickly at least give you a high level view of what kind of your case might look like. They're not going to be able to answer it in depth because they got to see documents. They got to really look into it. But from a high level, they can and in some cases, they may be able to tell you right off the bat, hey, yes, you do have a case, or, this is not a matter that it may be bad, but it's not necessarily illegal. So it can be helpful to do that. Of course, I'm an attorney and I'm a little bit biased in this respect. I'm in favor of paying for those consults because you want the attorney's undivided attention. Generally, not always true, but generally attorneys who are doing them for free, they're sifting for gold, right? Every second that they're talking to you, they're not spending time working on a case that they need to be working on to keep the lights on. So, they're trying to get the quickest point from A to B, and that may not involve spending a lot of time with you. So that's just one thing to consider as you want to hire an attorney or pay for a consult. But even if you decide that you want to do that, going through this section in the book can help give you guidance and kind of give you an educated way to even talk to your attorney to understand what factors might be relevant to him or her. And in that chapter, I'll walk you through kind of steps you can take to do your own research, whether it's through just a simple Google search or you're going to use something a little more sophisticated, with an AI product like ChatGPT, which can be very helpful. And let me say, I understand not everybody is completely comfortable with electronic research. For those folks who are not, for whatever reason, get a friend, to help you, somebody who is comfortable with these sort of things. Again, the book is written for non-lawyers. It's not going to get you the answer, right? I'm not asking you to do a surgery on yourself, but it gives you guidance on how you can do your research, where you can go, what kind of terms you should be plugging into that search function, right? I mean, you can certainly go in and type what happened to you and hit enter and see what you get back, and you may get something helpful. In an AI product, you may, but it's hard to know. It's more helpful if you can give the search engine or the chat bot at least something to work with in terms of the terms that you're looking for and what you're asking it to find. And the first section of the book can really help you do that. There are some of, as I mentioned, you can kind of skip around in the book. There's an appendix where I go through pretty extensively some common terms that people use, some other resources that you can use to try to, find legal information. So if you read those sections, that first section of the book, spend an hour or two, either by yourself or with somebody assisting you, doing that research, then you're going to come out the other end with a much better understanding of where you stand. It makes a lot of sense, and you may still want to go talk to an attorney, but then the conversation you'll be that much further along in terms of what you can share with an attorney, and perhaps get a good solid answer from an attorney in a half-hour consult rather than an hour consult, or you're going to wring everything that you need to out of that hour consult. And it is certainly possible that you go through this, you make your own analysis, and you say, it looks like I just don't, based on what I'm seeing, I don't have a case. Again, okay, worth your time to talk to an attorney to make sure that that's true. But look, if this $1 book or the $8 that you pay to get the hard copy saves you, $20,000 in legal fees and pursuing something that is not going to be fruitful, then clearly that is money well spent. So that's section one. How do you know that you have a case? It's going to provide you the tools to do that. The whole book uses some fictional characters, Matt and Lynn, who kind of be going through your same process. You may recognize some of what's happening to you and what they're going through. And I did that to, give it a little more of a human touch and less of a dry how-to manual. So follow along with them and their journey. And that first section should at least move you a couple steps along the board of figuring out whether or not you, in fact, have an employment law case. If you want more of this kind of information, you can go, we have two sites. You can go to the careerrocket.io and give us your email. Every week, you will get the latest and greatest in employment law and how to keep your career on an upward trajectory. You can also go to our website, spigglellaw.com, where we have a lot of free resources, and we link to our various social media channels where we also have a lot of free information. Finally, if you found this helpful, any of our podcasts helpful, appreciate you forwarding it to a friend or family member. We're trying to get the word out to as many people as we can. So that's it for today. Join me next time when I talk about section 2 of the book, and we'll give you a high-level view of how you might use this book and the important information that I have distilled down into it. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you the next time.